By the end of this video, you'll know how to use the WordPress editor and add new pages to your site. Let's get started. WordPress is a CMS, and that stands for Content Management System. So the most important thing you can do with WordPress is to create and edit content. In WordPress, the two main forms of content are posts and pages. In this video, you'll create your first page, and soon you'll be making your first post too. Start by logging into your WordPress dashboard and click on the Pages menu. Here, you'll see a sample page that WordPress automatically publishes on new installs. You'll also see this privacy policy page, which is still a draft, meaning it hasn't been published yet. It also says privacy policy page because WordPress is letting you know that you've selected this page in the privacy menu, which we looked at in a previous video. To create a new page, you can hover over this new menu item in the admin toolbar and then click on Page, or you can click the Add New link in the sidebar, or use this Add New button up here. Clicking this button will create a new page draft, and you'll find yourself in the WordPress editor. In the past, WordPress had an editor that looked like this, which we now call the Classic Editor. But now you'll see the new Gutenberg editor, and it works a lot like other text editors you've used before, but with a few key differences. Regardless of what type of site you're making, every website needs an About page, so let's start by titling the page About. Below the title, you'll see some placeholder text here, which goes away once you start typing. The main difference between the WordPress editor and a normal text editor is that this one uses a block system. I'll explain. You can hit the Enter key to create new paragraphs, just as you would expect, but before you begin typing, you can click on the plus button off to the side to select the different block type. Here in the block selector, you can see some common block types like images, lists, and headings. If you click on the heading option, it will insert a new heading block into the post. As you can see, the text I enter here is used as a heading instead of a regular paragraph, and if I hit the Enter key, I'll create a new block which by default is a paragraph block. One benefit that blocks have over regular text is that rearranging your content is much easier. You can hover over any block and use the arrow keys on the side to move it up and down the post. You can also use the handle here to drag and drop it into a new position. To be honest, the old editor worked fine for writing, but it was always difficult to arrange images and videos within the post. The new editor is way better for handling multimedia content, and that's exactly the kind of content that performs best these days. Take, for instance, this article from BuzzFeed. It's practically all images with just a spattering of short paragraphs and image captions in between. Or look at this article from the Washington Post. It's on a much more serious topic, but they still barely go 3 paragraphs without inserting an image or advertisement, and the paragraphs themselves are rarely longer than 3 lines. The block system the WordPress editor uses is well designed for creating this type of multimedia content, and that's what people expect from modern websites. With that out of the way, let's take a look at a few more things you can do with the WordPress editor. If you downloaded the WordPress Beginners Bundle, you can open up the Page Outlines folder and double-click the About page file to open it in your browser. You'll see a plain page with some code, and all you need to do is press Command A to select all of this code, and then press Command C to copy it to your clipboard. Back in the dashboard, click on the Options button up here, and then click on the Code Editor setting. Click anywhere inside the main text box and press Command V to paste the code that you copied. Lastly, click the Exit Code Editor button to return to the regular view. If you're not sure what to say in your About page, then I think this template will help you a lot. Your About page is actually an undercover sales page. You're telling your visitors your story and how you're different, which is a great way to turn them into customers. This outline will prove helpful for creating an effective About page, but there are a few enhancements that you can make. First, in the Origin Story section, this is a great place to include either an old photo of yourself or a picture of something that initially inspired you. So far, you've only added paragraph and heading blocks. Images are just as easy to include. Click at the end of the Origin Story heading and press the Enter key to create a new block. Click on the plus button on the left side to open the block selector, and then click on the most used section to close it. WordPress has dozens of block types available, organized into these 6 different sections. If you click on the common blocks section, you'll find the image block, along with some other recognizable elements like paragraphs, headings, and lists. When I click on the image block, it gets inserted into the post, and you'll see I have 3 buttons allowing me to upload a new image, choose an image I've already uploaded, or add a new image with a URL. I also want you to notice that the image block fills the whole width of the post. This is how I add images to my posts the majority of the time, and if you remember from BuzzFeed and Washington Post, that's normally how they include images too. However, the image block isn't the best option if you want to include text next to your image. I'll click the options icon and then select the remove block option to delete the image block. I'll start a new block and then open up the selector, and this time what I want you to do as well is to open up the layout elements section and then select this media and text block. This is the best way to include a smaller image with text next to it. As you can see, I still have the options to upload an image or choose an image from my media library. If you click into the text block, you'll notice it's a regular paragraph block and you can begin typing away. WordPress makes this text larger by default, but you can use the font size option in the sidebar to change it back to the normal font size. Next, scroll down to the What to Do Next section, and in here you'll want to add a link leading visitors to another page on your site. It could be a product page or a contact form, but you want to send them somewhere to take another action. Including links is quite simple. Click into a paragraph, highlight the text that you want linked, and then press the link icon. This small pop-up appears with nothing more than a URL input, and once you enter a valid URL and press the Enter key, you'll see the text linked in the editor. Lastly, if you want your link to really stand out, you can use a button instead. To add a button, create a new block, and in the block selector, you can open up the Layout Elements section to locate the button block. As you can probably tell already, this method of adding blocks gets tedious after a while, so a quicker method is to use the search bar. If I close out of the block editor and then open it back up, you'll see that my cursor is already placed in the search bar, and I can start typing button to instantly reveal the button block. That's much faster, but if you really want to be a WordPress pro, there's an even faster way. Instead of clicking on the plus button that you see on the left, simply type a / and then begin typing out the name of the block that you want to include. And you can see that the only result left is button, and once I press the Enter key, WordPress will automatically insert a button block for me. If you click inside the button, you can enter new text, and I'll change mine to click here, and below you can enter a URL just like a normal link. While I'm editing the button, you can see that the background color and text color can be quickly updated using the sidebar options. There are some predefined colors available, and clicking the custom color link opens a color picker where you can select a specific color. If you've been following along, make sure to click Save Draft at the top to save your changes. WordPress will autosave occasionally, but not until you save your draft manually at least one time. Now you've got a good idea of how the block editor works in WordPress, and you have a template to work with for your About page. In the next video, you'll learn how posts and pages are different, and then you'll move on to creating your first post. I'll see you there.